with another video. It's been forever. I finally had my baby, hence the title. So let's just jump in. Let's just do it. So I went into labor October 28th at 7 p.m. and I had my daughter October 29th at 4:12 p.m. I was in labor for 21 hours. Yes, 21. It was so long. It was definitely an experience that she will be my only child for sure. I'm not doing that again. Unless, the person that I end up with, I really, really love them and I want to give them another child. Other than that, she's my only one. So, yes, October 28th, I was, walking around the grocery store. I was getting contractions a lot that day. Me and my mom went grocery shopping, so I was getting contractions really bad when I was at the grocery store. And then, they kind of stopped a little bit. They were really far apart, like 10, 15 minutes apart, and they weren't lasting that long, so I didn't really think anything of it. So me and my mom get home from the grocery store, and she's like, let's take a walk. So we walked for an hour around my neighborhood, which was killing me, but we did it. And by the time we got back home, my contractions started getting a little bit worse. So by that time, it was like 5 o'clock. They started picking up a little bit, but they were still really far apart. And then by 7 o'clock, they were stronger. They were lasting a lot longer, but they were still 10 minutes apart, 10 minutes apart. So the night goes on. Around 1 o'clock, they're really close. They're like, 6-7 minutes apart, lasting 1 to 2 minutes. And so I call my mom downstairs. I'm like, I'm in so much pain. Like, I think, I'm in labor. This is not fun. I'm timing my contractions. I could barely sleep. By 3 o'clock, my godmom came over because she was my doula, and I was in full-fledged labor. My mucus plug came out. My water hadn't broken. My mucus plug came out, and my contractions were 5 minutes apart, lasting 2 minutes, and I was dying. Like, I was in so much pain, and they really were not letting me go to the hospital. I labored at home for 12 hours because they wanted me to labor at home as long as I could before I went to the hospital, because my godmother said that if I went to the hospital too soon, they would, my labor would last a little bit longer, and I would get annoyed with all the nurses and stuff coming in and out, which is true. So I labored at home for 12 hours. By 7 in the morning, October 29th, I finally went to the hospital. When I got there, they checked my cervix. I was 4.5 centimeters dilated, and I was just in so much pain. I had planned to do a natural birth. Now, if you have done a natural birth, I commend you. Like, bravo, you did that, bitch. Go you. But I could not do it. Well, I could do it if I actually stuck with it, but I didn't want to. I was in so much pain. I was just like, I need the epidural. Give me the epidural. And, it took them an hour and a half to give it to me, but I finally got it. By the time I got the epidural, I was 6 centimeters dilated. So I really could have went, the rest of the time. It would have been really quick if I would have just not got the epidural, but I did. And it slowed my labor down. I was still having hard contractions. I couldn't feel them, but they were 8 to 10 minutes apart because the epidural slowed down my labor. So my nurse gave me Pitocin to, make my labor speed back up, and it worked really fast. So about an hour and a half, I was fully dilated. And she came in and she checked my cervix and she was like, "It's time to push." And I was like, "Yay!" And she was like, "Yeah, we're gonna do some practice pushes." And I was like, "What the fuck is a practice push? Like, what?" So my mom, my dad, and my godmom were the ones who were in the room with me. One, because, you know, my immediate family, my parents are my biggest support system. And two, because my child's father is not around, so that was obviously a no-go, which is a story for another time. But my dad had left to go, you know, come home and let my dog out, feed my dog, and he almost did not make it. And I was like freaking out. I'm like, oh my god, if my dad is not here, I'm gonna cry and I'm gonna be so mad. But I'm gonna forgive him because, you know, he's taking care of my dog. But I was freaking out. My dad made it in time. I pushed for an hour, which really felt like 10 minutes. I was so surprised how fast it went by. When she told me I only pushed for an hour, I was like, it was that long? Like, oh my god. And my daughter came out the wrong way. So typically babies are supposed to come out face down, and then when they come out, the doctors turn them over face up. Well, my daughter decided she was going to be, you know, a butthead, and she came out face up, which made it a whole lot more difficult for me to push her out. And that's why it took longer. She didn't want to turn over. She came out face up, and she swallowed a lot of amniotic fluid when she came out. So the doctors were kind of panicking because when she came out, she wasn't breathing. Well, she wasn't crying. She was breathing. She wasn't crying, and they were worried about that. But I didn't think anything of it because my mom told me when she had me, I didn't cry. So I was just like, maybe, you know, my baby's just chilling. Maybe she's just not a crybaby. Like, leave her alone. But she had a lot of amniotic fluid in her. So they had to suck it out, and, you know, she had a little whimper. And then they gave her shot. She cried a little bit, like she let out a little whine, but then she stopped and she was fine. And she was 7 pounds, 5 ounces. Yeah, born at 4/12. I was so excited, so happy. Like, my daughter was overdue. I was supposed to have her October 24th. She came the 29th. So I was very mad that she was being so stubborn, but when I looked at her face, I was just like, oh my god, I just birthed this. And it was the most amazing feeling ever. We only stayed in the hospital for one night because me and her were both healthy. Everything went fine. So I came home that Monday, and my daughter will be 2 weeks. What's tomorrow? The 13th of November, right? No, the 12th, November 12th. My daughter will be 2 weeks. So there we go. Yeah. I think I had a pretty easy labor. I had a really good pregnancy, even though I didn't enjoy it. I hated being pregnant. But I had a good pregnancy. I didn't have any complications, which I thank the Lord for. And my labor was really, really good. So yeah, that is my labor and delivery story. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for my next video. Comment, like, and subscribe. And thanks.